everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working through day 2 of By the Well for God's famous last words. I'm showing you here a couple items that I'll be using on this page. I grabbed this older Kingdom Quintessence stamp. This was from a couple kits ago, and I'm going to use it because we were talking about Stephen today, and I thought this would be a great little stamp to add a picture to and some couple of key points about Stephen and his life. Now I'm stamping that on some lined paper that came with the proclamation paper pack that you could add on with the kit. And I fed that through my typewriter and added some notes about Stephen. And here I am grabbing an old math book from the 1950s and cutting out a picture of this young gentleman. I know it wouldn't look like Stephen, what he would wear and stuff like that, but I'm just kind of giving an image of a man around the same age. I'll cut this passport looking thing out, and then I will take my craft knife and just cut out that rectangle so I can paste that photo from the math book in there. I also thought it was kind of cool. I took this picture from the math book because it is a man that looks about, in his late 20s, early 30s, but also because he is handing a sandwich to someone else. And I know Stephen took care of the widows and orphans a lot. And so I thought that was just a neat picture to show for him. So as we talk about Stephen in day 2 of this devotional, we're often talking about the grace and forgiveness that he offers to those that are stoning him. And so I found this awesome Charles Spurgeon quote, and I actually wrote it on this ledger paper above. I just threaded it through my typewriter, and I wanted to read it for you. It says, "Every child of God ought to lay aside all resentments at once, or rather he should never have any. We are to carry in our hearts no remembrance of ills, but to live every day freely forgiven, as we are every day freely forgiven. But as we get near to heaven, there must be growing love to those who hate us, for so shall we prove that we have been made ready for the skies." And I also wanted to add in the quote from Stephen, and his last words rang, "Lord, do not hold this sin against them." And man, how powerful is that? For someone to be being stoned and they're asking that God not hold their sins against them. That is so powerful, because in today's world and in all of society, I think we want to hold on to that resentment. And so that's why that Charles Spurgeon quote means so much, and also Stephen's words. As Christians, are we holding on to that unforgiveness, or are we letting it go and just turning to God? I really wanted to use this piece of jute twine that was included in the kit, and so I punctured 4 holes through this word flashcard, and I probably would have separated the holes a little bit more. I thought I had separated them enough, but obviously since how thick the twine is, it didn't exactly come out the way I was thinking it would. It does look like an X, but it kind of is too scrunched up for my liking. So if you want to copy this and do something similar, I would suggest making the 4 holes even further away than you think you need, because that's what I definitely should have done. So I tie that up in the back side, and then I'm actually going to add a little bit of Fabri-Tac glue to the back side. That's going to help hold that knot, because it was just a very simple knot, and so I want to make sure that it stays well. I'm going to start gluing everything down. I know I want to do some stuff with this background, but I want to get everything kind of together first, because that way I can move that one piece of ledger paper with everything attached and kind of move it around and see where I want placement and what I want the background to look like. I'm definitely adding some foam tape to the back of this Kingdom Quintessence card. Number one, because it's my focal point for this page, but also because I want to add some more layering pieces behind it. So I end up grabbing the canvas bag that the kids come in, and I'm using the part that has the red stitching on it on purpose. I have 2 other places on this page that have red in it, and so I want to add more reddish rust color to this page, and so that is why I chose the red stitching part. I grab my Stays On ink and my date stamp, and I will stamp that down on there so I know the date of this page, and then I'll end up tucking it behind the Kingdom Quintessence card along the side of the ledger paper. Now I love the look of this canvas fabric, but I want to add a little bit more fabric. So I end up grabbing my favorite fabric of all time. This is all I have left, guys. It's kind of sad. I'm going to try to find it somewhere, but it is like this rust herringbone and it is gorgeous. You can see here I fidget with it quite a bit, trying to figure out placement and if I want that perfect ruffle or if I want a little of imperfection in this page. I always usually go for that perfect ruffle edge, but for this page I actually go for some imperfection and just kind of a fold over, and I will glue that down with some Fabri-Tac glue as well as that canvas date. Now, if you haven't used Fabri-Tac glue before, it is a great glue, obviously, for fabrics, but it also attaches to glass, leather, and wood. And so if you need a really strong hold, this is a great glue to use. This glue dries quickly, but not instantly, and so it allows for a little bit of wiggle room. Like right here, I decide I want that fabric moved down on the page a little bit, and so it allows you to do that. After having both fabric pieces glued down, I'm going to start thinking about the background. I definitely want some color in the background, but I also don't want it to take over the page because I want the ledger paper and the Kingdom Quintessence card and all that stuff to be the focal point. So I grab the tea dye Distress Oxide and just layer down a nice, even, light layer of this color. And then I'm thinking of some other things I can do with the background. As I finish up layering this Distress Oxide, I grab the new Tim Holtz Metropolis stencil. I grabbed this stencil a couple weeks ago when I knew this kit was coming out because I thought it would work perfectly with this kit, and I really can't wait to use it, but I just don't think it works well with this page. It looks a little too busy, I think. So instead, I grab some Distress Oxide spray in Vintage Photo, and I'll layer that down on the right-hand side of this page because that is the side that shows when I put my cluster down. And so I will end up drying that off kind of with my heat tool. And once I end up layering that page down again, the cluster, I realize that I think it's missing it on the other edges of the page. I think it still needs it. And so I kind of flick some more of that Distress Oxide around all the edges of the paper. You obviously can't tell in this process video, but up close and personal, you can see the oxidization from those brown sprays, and it looks really cool. But now the background and the ledger paper are similar creamy colors, and so I add a little bit more of distressing to the edges of this ledger paper. Now this ledger paper is from 1900. If you saw my previous video, you'd know that this is just a little extra that I couldn't use on my previous page. And so I add just a little bit more aging. It already has some great aging to it, but this will offset it a little bit with that frayed burlap edge, and so it just doesn't melt into the background as much. I ended up watching one of Lindsay's newest videos on famous last words and different techniques you could use, and she had used grit paste, and I've had grit paste in my arsenal, but I used it for snow in the winter, and I never really thought of using it to grunge up a page. And so I grabbed some of it and also some antique linen and mix that color in with the grit paste and grab this layering stencil to add a little bit more texture to this page. To finish this page off, all I have to do is actually stick down that Kingdom Quintessence card, and that will be it. If you've enjoyed this page, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can go ahead and follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.